Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be with you. I'm Manus, the Executive Director of NYSCA, and we are thrilled to be joined by so many attendees from across our whole state. I think we're up to over 400 at this point. This is a reminder that we are offering closed captioning, and those instructions may be found in the chat. We are so grateful this year for this incredible support of Governor Hochul and the New York State Legislature for their historic investment of $140 million. We also want to thank you for your work in reaching your legislatures and local media to amplify and share the good news about our funding last year. It all played a significant role in getting us to this unprecedented level of investment this year. We also recognize that we are still in the early days of our multi-year and multifaceted recovery, and we continue to share that message across the state. I'd like to recognize the incredible work of our staff under the leadership of Megan White, our Deputy Director of Programs, and Abigail Young, our Deputy Director of Operations and General Counsel. The opportunities that we bring to you this year build on the reimagined and expansive funding goals that NYSCA launched last year. And we are so appreciative of your vital feedback about last year's funding opportunities, and we've incorporated that into this year's opportunities. As you know, we officially launched our guidelines on Monday. Today's webinar will be an overview of our FY23 opportunities, and please know that we will be hosting, kicking off actually, our opportunity-specific webinar week next week, and a full schedule and registration links will be available and posted on our website following today's webinar. We also plan to host virtual office hours with NYSCA staff, and that schedule is also forthcoming. Many thanks to you who submitted questions in advance. We will have a dedicated Q&A session following the presentation, and you can still submit questions through the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. We also encourage you to listen to the entire presentation before submitting your questions today. And we've also budgeted extra time at the end of this session should we need to go over and as your schedule allows. A reminder that this webinar will be posted on the NYSCA website, and we'll share that link with everyone when it is live. Before we jump into the presentation, I want to remind you that the guidelines and application manual are available on our website on the opportunities page right now. We highly recommend that you bookmark this page. These documents are your go-to resource throughout the entire application process. So that's your application manual and the guidelines. Today, we will review the 5 opportunities which do not include capital, and our capital opportunity will open in September 2022, and we will be offering webinars and office hours along with that opportunity. Okay, let's jump into our funding priorities. So the overarching priority for all of our work is creating greater access to our NYSCA dollars, and I'm going to go through the ways in which we are doing that. We are providing expansive eligibility access for all organizations and individual artists from a wider range of artistic practices and local underrepresented communities. So this is really important to us. We really are hoping that no one comes back and says we don't fit, whether you're an artist or an arts organization. This also reflects our understanding of the evolution of the changing nature of art forms themselves. We're also offering a broad array of creative commissions and artistic areas, including interdisciplinary area. We have streamlined our user experience to reduce burdens such as time spent on the application itself. So for those of you who are new today or applying for the first time, we are using an application portal called Smart Simple. It is both smart and simple. We hope you find it to be an improvement over our last experiences. We also continue to condense the application questions. And we also have reduced and consolidated funding categories. What used to be 2 years ago 65, this year we're offering 6. And they will also be the first 5, other than capital, as I mentioned, will be offered on the same timeline. So everything's going out together. That was also feedback we received from you last year. We're also continuing to offer flexible funding terms. And so what this means is, as you have in the past, if you have submitted a change request about the length of your contract or modification to the terms, we'll continue to to receive those and look forward to being as responsive as possible, because we recognize that we're all still undergoing the impacts and challenges of COVID. And you can find more information about that in the current grantee FAQ on our website. I'm now thrilled to introduce Megan White, our Deputy Director of Programs. Megan, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mara, and welcome everyone. So what is the first step to apply for NYSCA funding? All nonprofit organizations must be pre-qualified to do business with New York State agencies before they can compete for state grants. The process allows nonprofits to address questions and concerns prior to entering a competitive bid process. You must be pre-qualified in the New York State Grants Gateway online portal at the application deadline to be eligible for funding from NYSCA. And please note, this is a completely separate portal from the NYSCA application portal. So please do not wait. Start this process now. New applicants, please begin the pre-qualification process as soon as possible. Returning applicants, please be sure to check your vault status. Hundreds of vaults are expiring in the next few months, so please review your status today. If you have any additional questions on the pre-qualification requirement, please contact us at help@arts.ny.gov or visit our website for more information, including a pre-recorded webinar on 10 tips about pre-qualification that will be available later on today. Mara?
Thank you so much. So let's go through some key dates. Okay, our guidelines were posted on Monday. Our application portal opens Tuesday, May 24th. Our application portal closes Tuesday, July 12th. Everything you need to start the process is available right now. Okay, might want to put those dates by your desk as well. Okay, in order to be eligible for NYSCA funding, you must be a nonprofit, either incorporated in or registered to do business in New York State, be a Native American tribe in New York State, or be a unit of government in New York State municipalities. You also must have your principal place of business located in New York State. Please review eligibility as listed in the guidelines. Megan?
Well, let's look at some of the available categories for support that organizations may apply to. First up is support for organizations. Support for organizations provides flexible general operating and programming funding for nonprofit organizations. NYSCA support for organizations is limited to one request per organization and may be awarded as a multi-year grant. Although organizations may submit only one application for their own entity to NYSCA support for organizations, they may also serve as fiscal sponsors for other unincorporated organizations. Additionally, universities or other organizations that apply on behalf of a department or embedded program must also apply as fiscal sponsors. Our next category that we'll look at briefly is support for artists. NYSCA embraces the rich diversity of art making across New York, and applicants from all artistic practices and disciplines are encouraged to apply. These funds are available for creative commissions to individual artists across the state. And there are 8 commissions areas: choreography, composer, film, media and new technology, folk and traditional arts, interdisciplinary, literature, theater commissions, and visual arts. Applicants to this category must apply through a nonprofit fiscal sponsor. Mara?
Okay, we're moving on to special opportunities. So these include creative performance residencies. This opportunity supports a minimum 3 consecutive week residency by a New York Performing Arts Group in a targeted area in New York State outside of the applicant's home county and outside of New York City. It also includes rehearsal and studio space for the performing arts. So this funding is intended to support creative rehearsal time and organizations that provide viable and affordable space for nonprofit arts groups and artists. And lastly, we have a folk arts apprenticeship. This funding provides individuals experienced in a folk art with opportunities to study with master folk artists from their own community. Priorities given to apprenticeships involving the transmission of traditions no longer widely practiced. The next opportunity is regrowth and capacity enhancement. And thank you all for your feedback last year on our recovery opportunity. I think you'll find this is very responsive to your comments and feedback. So this regrowth opportunity provides organizations with flexible funds to redevelop their ability to serve their audiences with considerations to the impacts of COVID-19. Funds may support a wide breadth of needs, such as provide payment to artists, support for staffing, support programmatic costs, advance audience development, and assist with necessary health and safety expenses. This is open to all New York State-based nonprofit organizations or Indigenous tribes whose primary focus is arts and cultural programming. Megan?
Next category is partnerships. Please note that this particular category is available by invitation only. This category supports regrant and partnership organizations across all 62 counties while identifying new opportunities to ensure the greater reach of NYSCA funding and greater access for new applicants. Partnerships cover a range of services, and funding ensures that NYSCA dollars reach all 62 counties of New York. Multi-year awards. NYSCA awards both single-year and multi-year grants. NYSCA awards multi-year grants when the panel, staff, and council of NYSCA agree that a similar level of service or activity will be sustained by the applicant organization over successive years. Multi-year grants represent NYSCA's agreement to offer successive years of support without requiring a full application and review of the grantee in the succeeding years, conditional on NYSCA's budget appropriation and the applicable contract execution for each successive year. Let me talk for a minute about how applications are evaluated. Please review the information that's listed in each set of guidelines as well as in the application manual. This is a multi-step review process. So once the deadline passes, staff reviews all applications for completeness and eligibility. Once that is done, the information that you have shared is sent to the panel, who reviews and rates the applications based on 3 criteria: creativity, public service, and fiscal and managerial. And these are rated on a scale of 0 to 5. Once these ratings are received and an average score is received, funding recommendations are assigned based on the strength of the average rating. Once these recommendations are made, our council reviews the recommendations and approves them. No recommendations are finalized until the council actually meets and approves them. And the final step of our process is the appeals process. Once all results are received, if an applicant feels that there was any misrepresentation or panel bias, they may appeal the decision of the council. And that is the final step of our actual process of reviewing grants for each grant year cycle. Let me talk to you for a moment also about our panelists, who are very key to our review process. Each year, panelists play a key role in NYSCA grant making. NYSCA selects a diverse group of professionals from across the state to fulfill the advisory panelist role. Panelists' expertise spans a range of artistic practices, as well as many facets of nonprofit management. Advisory panels must demonstrate expertise in at least one of NYSCA's evaluation criteria. We're currently seeking panelists from all 10 regions of the state, and all FY23 panel meetings will be conducted virtually. The nominations are due by July 12th, 2022 to be considered for panel service this current calendar year. Please visit our website to nominate yourself or a colleague. Over to you, Mara.
Thank you, Megan. Okay, so who should I contact with questions? For technical questions on submitting online applications or pre-qualification, contact our help desk at helps@arts.ny.gov. For opportunity-related questions, please contact program staff in the funding area most aligned with your organization's work. But all staff contact information can be found under the About tab on our NYSCA website. I just want to make a note here that really any program staff can respond to your questions, and if they can't, they will direct it to another program staff member. Please remember to submit questions at least 2 weeks before the application deadline. And please note that we do not review written draft application materials in any way. We pride ourselves on our customer service. It's really a hallmark of our agency's work. So we will make sure that your questions are answered. If they are not, and you know you're getting no response, please reach me. In terms of our calendar, our second annual webinar week starts next week, May 16th to 19th. Please note that all webinars are recorded and posted on the NYSCA website. We will be also hosting virtual office hours throughout the process. We found that they were very helpful last year to many participants. This schedule and the registration links will be sent out and posted to the NYSCA website following this webinar. We also ask that you please read the guidelines in their entirety before attending a webinar. You'll get a lot more out of the webinar, a lot more out of your office hours or the webinar, depending on which you attend. You can always also reach staff outside of the webinars and the office hours with any questions. Additionally, we want to make sure that you know that attending webinars or contacting NYSCA staff is absolutely optional. It has no bearing on the review of an application. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we jump into our Q&A session, I want to reiterate the importance of making sure your organization is pre-qualified in Grants Gateway. Okay, every year, I receive a list of organizations that submit applications but didn't pre-qualify, and it's really heartbreaking. These are organizations from every region and every budget size, and it always surprises me. Why weren't these organizations pre-qualified? So this is a reminder, as Megan said at the beginning, we have hundreds of applications that are expired, whose grants vault status is expiring, hundreds. Okay, so that could mean you. Please check on your vault status. This is super important. All that work that you spend on the application will be for naught unless you're pre-qualified. We're here to help. We don't want anyone to be disqualified on a technicality. The Grants Gateway is administered by another agency, and this requirement is for any nonprofit applying for any state funding opportunity. So again, pre-qualification is the most important thing you can do before embarking on your application. Over to you, Megan.
Thank you. So before we get into varied questions, there are some that tend to be asked more frequently than others. So I thought that we might share this at the top. How many opportunities can I apply for? So an organization may apply for one request in support for organizations. It may also apply in special opportunities, regrowth and capacity enhancement, and your organization can sponsor someone in support for artists. So technically, an organization, if you have the need and are eligible, may apply for all 5. There is one request that may be submitted directly by an organization in support for organizations. The application deadline is Tuesday, July 12th at 4 p.m. No exceptions. The gate closes at 4 p.m. When do I have to pre-qualify? Please make sure that your organization is pre-qualified by Tuesday, July 12th at 4 p.m. But do not wait until that day or a few days before to see if your organization is pre-qualified. Please check today and make sure that you take the steps necessary to update your vault way in advance of submitting your application to make sure that your organization is actually in pre-qualified status. Can I apply for support for organizations if I received funding last year? Well, yes. You can apply if you received funding last year. However, if you're a multi-year, you do not need to reapply. Who can serve as a fiscal sponsor? Any registered New York State nonprofit arts and cultural organization that is pre-qualified can serve as a fiscal sponsor. You do not have to go to a specific service organization or someone that you are that you might feel that you have to work with. Any organization that is a registered New York State nonprofit and pre-qualified can serve as a sponsor. And please note that fiscal sponsorship may not impose a fee for submitting a sponsored application, but may charge a fiscal sponsorship fee if the application is funded. That is not to exceed 5% of any actual grant amount. Any fee that should be described in the use of grants funds questions that are in the application. So now that we've reviewed this, I guess we're open to some
Let's head over to some questions. Yeah, I'm seeing one that I just wanted to amplify, which is a question about applying for funding by discipline. So funding is no longer awarded by discipline. You can apply through the support for organizations category. Can panelists also apply for funding? Megan, can panelists apply for funding?
Panelists are absolutely welcome to apply for funding. And what might happen is that if you are serving on a panel, you will be asked to recuse yourself for the portion of the panel meeting when your request is being funded, and or not serve on that panel specifically because your request is part of that pool of applications, depending on what's going on in that particular review area. But absolutely, panelists are welcome and encouraged to apply.
Great. Megan, can newly created organizations apply for funding?
Newly creative organizations may apply for funding as long as you are pre-qualified in the New York State Grants Gateway and you have actual activities that you are offering to the public.
Great. Where does one look for their vault status? So happy you are asking this. This is Grants Gateway. You can also contact the NYSCA help desk with any pre-qualification questions. help@arts.ny.gov, and we do have dedicated staff to help navigate the Grants Gateway pre-qual process.
Mara, can organizations receive both regrowth and other types of support?
Absolutely. You can apply for up to 5, any of those 5 categories if you're eligible.
And what kind of information is in our application manual? Well, Mara, I will ask you one thing that we always tell our applicants to do, which is what?
Need to read everything.
Right. And where are we asking them to look for this information?
Go to our website.
Right. So on our website is the application manual. This is for those of you who might not know. Whoever asked that question, thank you so very much. But the application manual has key dates, pre-qualification, and everything it is that you need to know about how to apply for FY 2023. So as we've said before, please make sure you review everything on the website, all of the guidelines, the application manual, prior to coming to us with your questions so that you can have a more fulsome conversation about how to apply in FY23.
Great. So I see a question about applying for multi-year grant. Megan, do you want to take that one?
Sure. So anyone that's applying to NYSCA is eligible for a multi-year grant, but that decision is actually made by staff and council based on panel comments about the sustainability of the organization and its projects moving forward.
Great. I see a question about minimum budget size to apply. Absolutely not. We fund organizations of every size, very, very tiny organizations, budgets under $50,000. I've seen those applications. We also have been awarded capital in the past. So no minimum budget size to apply. Please define the grant start and end dates.
Our grants are calendar year grants. So for FY23, we're looking at calendar year 2023.
Okay, can pre-qualification expire during a multi-year contract? Yes, it can. Right, Megan?
Absolutely can. And please contact help@arts.ny.gov to confirm your pre-qualification status. And that's important to do, whether or not you are in multi-year status. Again, you want to make sure that your vaults remain updated so that it's not something that you have to worry about in the future, should you be applying to NYSCA or any other state entity.
Okay. Will NYSCA offer resources on applying? So as we mentioned, in case you just joined us, we will be launching a webinar week on Monday, May 16th, so next Monday. Those are going to be opportunity specific webinars. We're also going to be holding office hours with our staff, program staff. Those are incredibly valuable. You may come with questions. You may come to just observe and learn about questions you may not have thought of. We started that last year and we'll continue that practice this year. So there's going to be a lot of help. You can also call any of our program staff and they will be able to be responsive to your questions. Again, we do not help with the application per se. We never review drafts, but certainly any questions about applications, please direct to any of our program staff or join any of the webinar or office hours. Who can serve as a fiscal sponsor? This is a great one. I think this is one that's not as widely understood. Megan, you want to take it?
Sure. Any nonprofit, any New York State nonprofit organization that is pre-qualified in the Grants Gateway may serve as a fiscal sponsor. So if you know of an organization that you are considering having serve as a sponsor, have a conversation with their leadership. to see if that is something that is viable for both of you.
Right. So this could be a theater organization, a dance organization. This may not be their main, their primary business, but it can, as long as it's any nonprofit arts that's pre-qualified with us. Where do I find information about NYSCA's funding areas? Megan, where do you find that information on our funding
website? So if you go to arts.ny.gov and look under grants, all of our opportunities are listed, including our application manual. So please take the time to visit the website, look at those guidelines, take a few minutes to digest them. Also look at the application manual because it gives you more details about how to actually apply once you review those guidelines. That's really important for you to do. I see someone is asking, can I apply to an SCR and NYSCA funding in the same year? So SCR are our statewide community re-grant partners, and they provide NYSCA funds to smaller nonprofit arts and cultural organizations. Because this is the same as NYSCA, the main NYSCA grant, all of it is NYSCA money, you may not apply to NYSCA and the SCR within the same year. If you apply this year to the SCR, you will need to wait until next year to apply directly to NYSCA. And again, if you have any questions about that clarity on that, you can speak directly to your SCR site or contact any NYSCA staff if you need any further clarity on that.
Great. And so next one, can I apply for special opportunities? And I think that was, and support for organizations? Yes, absolutely. Again, those 5 opportunities, you can apply to as many as you are eligible for, but absolutely, as Megan said, support for organizations and regrowth, support for organizations, and you want to sponsor an artist, support for organizations and special opportunities. Absolutely, absolutely. We do have significant funding this year, and we are so thrilled to be able to distribute it widely. Okay, can organizations be fiscal sponsors for multiple artists? Megan, can they?
Absolutely, absolutely. We do have some organizations that have a list of artists that they sponsor fiscally, that are fiscal sponsors for. So if that is something that you as an organization are interested in doing as a service to the arts and cultural community, we encourage you to do so.
Great.
I have questions about filling out budget information. Who should I contact? You should be able to contact any NYSCA staff, any NYSCA program staff that you see listed on our website. Please feel free to reach out once you have some specificity about what your questions are.
So how do I determine my funding area? So which opportunity do you want to apply for? Again, read the guidelines, and if any remaining questions, call a program staff member. Do I have to be a nonprofit? You have to be a nonprofit, or you have to be a Native American indigenous tribe, or you have to be a municipality of New York State. Next question. When will we be notified? You'll be notified by the end of the year, if not before, about receipt of your about your application success. Where can I find contact information for program staff? You can find that on our website, and you can click on the person's picture. Actually, we have a contact list for staff. There's also a contact list. There's contact information by, I think, right under their photo, right, on the website?
So, yeah. It's listed actually in 2 different places on our website.
Great. So 2 different places. This shouldn't be hard. We're trying to
I'm looking through the Q&A.
Yeah.
And I see one that says, if you are applying through a fiscal sponsor, does that cover pre-qualification needs? So if you're applying through a fiscal sponsor, the fiscal sponsor has to do pre-qualification. You as the sponsoree do not. But
Right.
The fiscal sponsor has to be a nonprofit that is eligible to apply, which means they do have to have pre-qualification status.
Right. And an organization as well as artists can be fiscally sponsored.
Right.
What are the funding ranges? Please check our guidelines for that. If we sponsor an artist, is the organization eligible for a 5% administration fee for that grant? I think you shared that, right, at the beginning, Megan?
So artist grants actually have a flat fee. And
Right.
that is outlined in the guidelines. So please familiarize yourself with that in the support for artists guidelines.
Right. That's up to, I think, 500. Is that correct?
$500.
$500, right. So are New York City DCLA awardees eligible? Absolutely. We fund many organizations that receive DCLA funding, also receive NYSCA funding.
Yeah, and we encourage you to apply.
Yeah. I'm from Northern New York. Can I apply for panel service? Please do. We
Please
want panelists.
do.
Please do. Megan Wolf, please. Megan, over to you. That's music to our ears.
No, just please go to our website, find the link for panel service. And again, you can self-nominate, you can nominate someone else for panel service. I do highly advise that you let someone else know if you're submitting their name for panelist service. Please absolutely do. Please do consider it.
Right. We did review in this webinar, in case you're just joining us, the information about how applications are evaluated. We're going to be posting this deck and the webinar on our website probably no later than probably tomorrow. So you can find it there. You can also find it in our FAQs. When do we anticipate guideline to capital projects? Okay, great. So I mentioned at the top, okay, September, you will be getting, we will be releasing our guidelines for capital projects, and we will also be hosting webinars as well as office hours. So we got you covered.
And just wanted to let you know that the information about how our applications are evaluated is also in our application manual.
There we go.
So multi-year grants is not there's not like a box you can check for a multi-year grant. It is all dependent upon the review and the panelists' perceived sustainability of the project or the activity that you are submitting a request for.
Megan, I'm an arts education organization. Can I apply?
Absolutely. If you're
Absolutely.
a nonprofit or any of those other eligible types of arts and cultural organizations in New York State, and you are pre-qualified, you are eligible to apply.
Yeah. So my organization received a multi-year grant in FY22 under the support for organizations category. Can we still apply to other categories? Absolutely, yes. Please do. Looking forward to that application. Okay, we have lots of questions. You want to take the next one, Megan?
Can an organization apply to all 3 special opportunity grants, or must we choose only one? So if you have eligible activity in all 3 areas, you're welcome to apply. And please make sure you familiarize yourself again with the guidelines. Can't say this enough. Make sure you read the guidelines on our website prior to contacting staff with any further questions.
So the creative commissions, you want to, yeah, so we do offer creative commissions for artists. We are offering them in 8 categories, including an interdisciplinary one. If you're an individual artist, you can call, after reviewing those categories in our guidelines, you can call our program staff for more information.
Our panelists are paid for their participation. Panelist work is really a great way to offer service to the state of New York and to the arts and cultural community at large. Panelists are charged to not only to keep information confidential, but also to avoid conflict of interest, and are instructed on how to read, rate, and review the applications. And our panels are all meeting virtually in case anyone didn't catch that earlier. And we encourage everyone who knows of qualified individuals, or if you are a qualified individual yourself, you're encouraged to apply.
Right. And on the panelist note, there's another question about how long is the commitment. So while the panelist term is 3 years, if you are not available to serve, we understand that. So you're not signing up, you're not committing to three consecutive years, but you are available to, providing your schedule allows. Okay, do you want to go to the next one?
If I want to be funded through multiple opportunities, I have to submit multiple applications. Absolutely correct. You need to provide separate and discrete information for each request that you might be submitting for funding. Yep,
yep. But again, we've made it a lot easier than the past. So this shouldn't take you days, it should take you hours, okay? When can I apply in the portal? So our application portal opens on Tuesday, May 24th. So it's just a couple of weeks from now.
So we encourage you in this meantime to do what? To make sure you're pre-qualified, right? You have that time. And then number 2, familiarize yourself very closely with the guidelines and the application manual, and really try to ask as many questions as possible that you might have prior to the opening of that deadline, and definitely prior to you starting to fill out your application. Is the grant for organizations the best fit for art services organizations? So I think you're referring to the support for organizations category. And if they're your overall activities as an organization is what you will be submitting a request for. If you have activities that apply specifically towards special opportunities that you offer to creative artists in New York State, you may also want to consider that area as one that you would submit a request for funding for. But your overall activities, your overall programs, activities, services is what you would submit as a request under support for organizations, regardless of what type of organization you are. You could be a dance organization, theater, service organization. That is like the general support type of category.
And this is a good question. Could applying as a fiscal sponsor make an organization less competitive for other grants? Absolutely not. We are so grateful for organizations that do want to bring forth fiscally sponsored applications. No, we do not. That is not any kind of negative in any way. It's actually just appreciated. So thank you. Megan, you want to take this next one? Yeah, just take it.
What is the minimum and maximum award plan for opportunities? Each opportunity has the floor and ceiling or the minimum and maximum listed therein. So please make sure you review those, each set of those guidelines because they are listed in there.
Right. I'm seeing one about capital, FY22 capital grantee apply for FY23 opportunities? Absolutely. Please, no, there's absolutely no, we welcome your application.
If you have an interest in a specific opportunity, I have an interest in a specific opportunity, how can I learn more? So you can read the guidelines on our website about that specific opportunity. And then next week, there will be a webinar for each specific opportunity that we will be sharing. These would be live webinars. So please attend that if you are available. If not, those will be recorded and placed on our website. And then you also have opportunity during office hours to ask specific questions of staff at that time. So there's several different ways that you can learn more about a specific opportunity.
Okay, so we have a question about the application. Someone's already looked at the application manual. This is exciting. The application manual does not appear to have specific instructions for filling out the application fields. Will that be posted later? Absolutely. The technical application manual will be released when the portal opens, May 24th. Thank you for that question. I saw a question about, I think, GOS and program areas. So as I mentioned, we have consolidated our vast number of opportunities down to 6. Mm-hmm. So if you're applying as an organization, go to support for organizations, consider Regrowth, any of the ones that may fit for you, any of those 5 you can apply for.
I've seen one that says, can artists and organizations receive funding from both NYSCA and a statewide community re-grant partner, not within the same calendar year?
Okay, I also see one about, will this round of NYSCA funding be in addition to the NYSCA grant opportunities that typically occur as part of the RDC cycle or in place of these? So this is, will this round of funding be in addition to? No, so this is our, other than capital, these 5 opportunities are all that NYSCA is offering this year. If you're, okay. Again, there's a lot of questions about multi-years. You do not apply for multi-year. Multi-years are determined by the panel review process and the staff. I think we handled this before. I see another question about regrants. Can a nonprofit receive funding from both NYSCA support for organizations and through regrants? You can't apply in the same year. So Megan, I guess one of this also could be that if nonprofit is currently a regrantee in FY22, they can apply for NYSCA in FY23, correct?
Right, but they cannot then apply to the regrant site in FY23.
Right. Okay. So I hope everyone got that distinction. You could be a current 22 regrantee, and you can apply. You can apply for NYSCA in 23 for 23 funding. Okay. Right.
How does an organization become a fiscal sponsor? So if you want to be a fiscal sponsor for an organization or an artist, the instructions on how to do that, what information that you will need to provide as the sponsoring organization is provided not only in the guidelines, but also in the application manual.
Okay.
Consolidated application form through New York State Regional. No, this is the New York State Council on the Arts funding opportunities. And all of our applications are made through Smart Simple.
Who do we talk to regarding partnership applications? So if you have a folk and traditional arts application or question, there is an email on our website that you can direct your question to.
I believe it's folk@arts.ny.gov.
There you go, folk@arts.ny.gov. Okay. Other questions? Sorry, we're also skimming through these.
Yeah, to see what
are the special opportunities the same as they were last year, Megan?
Special opportunities are largely the same as they were last year.
Yeah. Okay, I think we've mentioned many times you can apply to more than one category. We hope that you do. I'm
also seeing a lot of questions about pre-qualification here.
Okay.
And again, we have not only the help at arts.ny.gov, but we'll be posting also a webinar about pre-qualification on our website later on today. So please make sure you review that. It should answer many of your questions.
And Megan, I'm seeing a question about, we received a multi-year grant this year through 2023. Do we have to submit an application this year?
This year is for FY2023 support, so you will not need to submit one if you have FY2023 support.
I think there's another one that says, if we were awarded an FY21, FY22 multi-year grant, do we need to apply for the support for organizations? Is there a way to signify a request for another multi-year? Again, you cannot apply for multi-year, something that the panel process determines. But if your multi-year grant concludes in FY22, then you will be applying again for support for organizations if that's your category for 23.
And this webinar will be recorded and placed on our website. Are sponsoring organizations under support for artists able to sponsor multiple artists? Actually, you are able to sponsor multiple artists. I am not aware that we currently have a maximum. There are art service organizations that currently every year submit numerous artists for consideration under sponsorship guidelines.
Yep. So the webinar is being recorded, will be posted to our website, hopefully no later than tomorrow. And also it says, is there a question that we have, is there an opportunity to talk with staff about application feedback? Absolutely. So we actually encourage everyone to reach our program staff about concerning your feedback on your application. If you weren't awarded funding, for instance, you will learn about how you can create a stronger application going forward. And we really welcome those calls. So thank you for that question.
I see one that says, can we start drafting our application using the narrative questions in the FY23 guidelines for organizational support? Will discipline-specific guidelines released later have different questions? The questions that are listed on the NYSCA website right now are the questions that you will need to answer for any and all support to NYSCA. So once the portal opens on May 24th, is really just giving you access to submit the information, that is based on those questions that are currently in the guidelines.
Great. So do all opportunities have different requirements? There aren't eligibility requirements, right? By opportunity?
There are different eligibility requirements for each opportunity. So please make sure you review each one to see, number one, if you're eligible, if you even have activity that would be applicable under those guidelines, and then what those specific guidelines are.
Right. Okay, great. I have questions about the guidelines. Who should I contact? Megan, who should we contact?
You can contact any NYSCA staff as listed on our website. Any NYSCA program staff will be able to assist you with questions about the guidelines.
Right. And on the website, again, we have a contact sheet just for our staff members. So please check that out. Can one application for an organization support include multiple projects of different types? Megan.
Your support for your organization support request is definitely provides an overview of the totality of your organization's activities as it relates to your mission. So again, please review the guidelines. Make sure you understand the questions and what it is that they're talking about. You will be summarizing in a narrative form overall what your main activities are and how it's related to your mission and how it serves your community.
Right. Okay, next question. Webinar week starts next Monday, May 16th, runs to the 19th. And yes, all the webinars are recorded and posted on our website for you to view post webinar in case you can't make it. And in case you can and wanted to make sure that you got all the, were able to review all those answers. Next question is, let's see. I noticed that, so here's one about our partners, or a deadline for the new partnership with the Architectural League. I think, I'm not sure I have the answer about the NYSCA deadline for individual designers through the partnership with the Architectural League. I would please read.
The deadline would be defined by the Architectural League, and I suggest you review their guidelines. That's
okay,
that's not our direct program.
Got it. So that's about our, great. Okay, perfect. Thank you. How long? Here's a good one. Now here, how long does pre-qualification last? Did you see that one?
Oh no, I didn't see that one.
Okay, I'm not sure what this can. So basically, you pre-qualification in the vault. How long does that last, Megan? Before your documents expire?
I don't know, but it is incumbent upon every organization to review their vault periodically to make sure that it remains in compliant status with pre-qual.
Yeah.
Generally, it's a year.
It's a year, right? Yeah. How should a new applicant find fiscal support? Read those guidelines. Go to those guidelines, and once you've read those guidelines, call a program staff if you have further questions. Let's see, for an artist grant, does the artist need to approach the organization about applying, or I think this is about fiscal sponsor, or if an organization wants to work with an artist, can the organization approach that artist and then apply? Megan, does the order matter? How that works?
The order doesn't matter as long as there's an agreement between the two entities. I would strongly suggest that you both create like some sort of letter of agreement between the two of you. But the way that it, who approaches who first really doesn't matter as long as that there is a common understanding that evolves.
Yep. If a fiscal sponsor is a university applying as a fiscal sponsor for a distinct department or entity on the campus, is a fiscal sponsor limited to one operations proposal? I think they mean support for organizations, but I'm not sure. How do you?
I would encourage you to reach out directly to us with that question. All universities must first complete an eligibility form, which is found on our website, really, which is a way of us making sure that any activities are actually available and open to the public and not just for matriculated students in attendance. So before any conversation can really happen about that, make sure that that is something that's completed and submitted to us. And so you can reach out about that and also your other questions directly to NYSCA staff.
Again, we have another question about applying for, are we able to apply if you're on a multi-year in 23, are we able to apply in a different category? Yes, please, please. You may be eligible for regrowth or any number of the other categories. And again, once you've read the guidelines, you have questions, just please reach the program staff. What topics are covered? Go ahead, over you. Go ahead, you got
it. During webinar week. And basically, we're going to be going through all of our funding opportunities during webinar week. Right. So support for organizations, special opportunities, regrowth and capacity, or like all of the different opportunities will be discussed in detail with program staff, along with the opportunity for some Q&A at the end. So right. Please make sure you attend if you can, but if not, just like this webinar, it will be posted on our website, you know, recorded and posted on our website when it's done.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Will there be separate rounds? No. So the rounds, so we have basically 2 rounds this year. This is the first one, all these 5 opportunities. We're not doing it like we did last year. Thank you for your feedback. We're learning, we're always learning from our field. This is round, and this is the biggest round. This is all the other than capital, right? So all the dollars that are other than capital are going out now, and they will all be posted, and you can apply on May 24th, and they're all due on July 12th. And then capital, that's the only other opportunity. And again, that's going to be offered in the fall, and those will go up in September. And yes, all applications are due on that same date, other than capital. Trying to make it easy for you guys, or clear. Hopefully both. Let's see. I think looks like we're
looking at the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like we're kind of like we're at the point where we're getting a little repetitive.
Yeah, so I think we could wrap this up. And again, it's just such a thrill to be with you guys today. There's so many of you who joined us from across the state, and it just makes our morning even better. So I wanted to thank you all for joining us. Again, webinar week starts next week. Again, please read the guidelines. Please reach our program staff once you've read the guidelines with any questions. This concludes today's webinar, and a reminder that the webinar will be recorded and posted on our website along with this deck this week, and we'll send around an email with the link when they are live. Okay, so you'll get that link. And it's just wonderful to share this virtual space. We look forward and hope that you join us for those webinars next week, and to receiving your applications by July 12th. And we also want to say just a giant, we are also grateful and continue inspired by our field. We recognize what an unbelievable challenge and unimaginable challenge these last 2 years have been for everyone in this field, and we remain committed with you on this journey of recovery. And we also know that when the arts thrive, New York soars. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you, Megan.
Thank you,
everyone. Such a pleasure to be with you, and thank you, everyone. Look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.